Did you know 90% of homes are placing their refrigerator in the wrong position? And this quietly blocks money, causing your wealth to slip away. But if you put it in the right spot, money will flow in continuously and prosperity becomes unstoppable. Watch until the end, because I will reveal the secret position that few people know. It sounds like a small, almost ridiculous detail. An appliance is just an appliance, right? We put it where the outlet sits, where the builder left the hookup, where it fits between cabinets. We think of convenience, not of destiny. But listen closely, because this ordinary decision, where your refrigerator stands, has consequences you have been living with and paying for every month, without realizing why. When the refrigerator is misplaced, it doesn't scream or make its presence known in the obvious ways. It does something subtler, more insidious. It interrupts the rhythm of your home. It clashes with the energy flow. It traps the circulation of abundance. And that unseen disruption slowly becomes a pattern. Missed opportunities, unexpected expenses, relationships fraying, health nagging at the edges, and money that arrives only to leave just as quickly. The refrigerator is the modern house's pantry, the keeper of nourishment. In ancient times, families who stored food well survived droughts and hard winters. Those who lost their stores lost everything. Today, our refrigerators play a similar symbolic role. Where they stand in your kitchen becomes the place where your household's nourishment, and by extension, your household's stability and prosperity, is either preserved or weakened. Most people pick a spot for the fridge based on a single practical idea: convenience. But convenience does not equal alignment. Energy has its own logic. Layouts that please our eyes can still block the unseen currents that determine how fortune circulates in a household. The refrigerator is intimately tied to that current. If it's standing in the path of the flow rather than aligned with it, the flow hiccups. If that hiccup repeats day after day, the drain becomes a hemorrhage. That is why 9 out of 10 families live in homes where the fridge is effectively starving their prosperity. Imagine a new couple moving into their first home. They unpack boxes, they choose curtains, they place their refrigerator where it best fills the space between counters. The home looks good, it feels right. But months later, the couple finds themselves stretched thin. Unexpected bills appear. The husband loses momentum at work. The wife's side project dries up. They start arguing about small things. Their savings, once a comfort, melts away. To the couple, it is coincidence, bad luck, timing. To someone who understands placement, it's an energy pattern that starts in the kitchen. Then consider another household, a family on the edge. They have just enough to get by. They follow a well-meaning tip from a relative about simple layout changes. They move the refrigerator just a few feet. It is not a dramatic renovation. It is a small shift, a repositioning that looks trivial. Yet over the following months, small things begin to turn. A delayed invoice gets paid. A neighbor who had been cold suddenly brings over a casserole. The mother of the family receives a message about a job opening she didn't expect. Nothing miraculous, nothing instantaneous, but the incremental changes add up. Their budget stabilizes. Peace filters back into their conversations. The family begins to breathe. If you listen to these two stories and nodded politely, you may be dismissive. But the truth is more than anecdote. Psychology and spatial dynamics tell us this: our environment informs our decisions. A poorly ordered space increases stress hormones. Stress narrows attention and reduces the clarity needed to see and act upon opportunities. Conversely, spaces that support clear movement and calm thinking create conditions where people make better choices that multiply financial stability over time. Then there is the older, less discussed language of energy, traditions like Feng Shui and other place-based practices. For centuries, people have known that where you place key features of the home, hearth, pantry, entrance, shapes the fortunes of the household. The kitchen has always been a center of life and sustenance. The refrigerator is the modern altar of that center. To place it correctly, is to honor the role it plays. To leave it in a spot that disrupts flow is to disrespect an ancient logic that, as it turns out, remains relevant. What does wrong placement look like? There are patterns I've seen again and again in homes where fortune slips away. A refrigerator placed directly beside the main entrance, where the door slams open and cold air meets warm air at every passing, symbolically invites energy to rush out as easily as it rushes in. A refrigerator facing the stove creates an elemental argument, heat and cold facing off, and that friction translates into tension inside the household. Arguments over money, impulsive spending, and the sense that money can't be kept. A refrigerator wedged into a cramped corner, starved of airflow and movement, mirrors the stagnation that grows in the family. Plans that never get off the ground, opportunities missed because the momentum to pursue them is always lacking. Most homeowners will tell you they place the fridge where it fits, where it makes sense. And many contractors will say it is fine. But fit does not equal flow. You can build kitchen islands and fancy cabinets and still block the stream that should nourish the home. It's a quiet sabotage. You don't see the leak of your prosperity the way you see a dripping faucet. Instead, you feel it in the background, a perpetual edge of scarcity, a weariness that follows the family from room to room. There is also the social dimension. The kitchen is where family gathers, where conversations happen while food is prepared. If the refrigerator interrupts natural pathways, if people bump into it, if it forces awkward traffic, it creates micro-frustrations that ripple out into the rest of life. Those frictions cost attention, patience, and eventually money. When each small annoyance accumulates, important decisions are made under strain rather than in clarity. Bills are paid late because a headspace was never clear enough. Negotiations at work suffer because a person is always slightly off balance. Little leaks widen into larger cracks. Don't mistake this for superstition alone. The refrigerator hums, yes, but it also anchors a set of rituals. When we stock up, when we invite people in, the way a family organizes food, the places we reach for a snack during late-night work. These daily patterns shape habits. Habits shape outcomes. A place that encourages order and harmony supports productive routines. A place that encourages congestion and conflict breeds unpredictability and expense. Now, perhaps you are thinking, this is too mystical. I trust numbers, not arrangements. Fine. Consider the hard data of behavior. Research indicates that environmental stressors reduce executive function. They make us more likely to react impulsively rather than plan deliberately. That impulsivity is directly tied to poor financial choices, splurges, missed payments, the inability to follow through on savings plans. If your fridge's position contributes to daily irritation or inefficient movement, you're increasing the odds of poor financial behavior. Again, it's not magic, it's cause and effect. But if we return to the older wisdom for a moment, astrology and Feng Shui both teach that the kitchen is the stomach of the home, the place that digests and distributes sustenance. Where the refrigerator lies determines whether your household digests prosperity or expels it. In that frame, moving the refrigerator is not just a cosmetic change, it is a recalibration of the home's capacity to receive, to store, and to share abundance. It's a functional, symbolic act that aligns material and energetic systems. You must understand the stakes. If your refrigerator sits directly in the line of the home's entrance, every time someone comes and goes, energy is being dragged in and out without being settled. If it stands in a place where it opposes the stove, or the main preparation area, you are hosting an elemental conflict in your own kitchen. If it's squeezed where airflow is poor, you are suffocating not only the appliance, but the household's ability to thrive. And here is a truth that may be unnerving. Many people accept their struggles as permanent. They adapt, they lower expectations. This is just how life is, they tell themselves. But small structural changes, small like shifting a refrigerator a few feet, can break a pattern. When the flow is restored, the cumulative effect is profound. It doesn't always look like immediate riches. Often it begins with subtler shifts, less tension, clearer conversations, better sleep.
then incremental financial decisions that compound into real improvement. So here is the choice you face now. Stay in the 90% who never question the practical placement of their appliances and continue to wonder why prosperity evades them? Or step into the 10% who pay attention to these small but potent alignments, who act deliberately, and who watch as their homes begin to support the life they want. In a few minutes, I will tell you precisely where the refrigerator should be placed if you want money and fortune to flow in immediately and abundantly. This is the spot that harmonizes movement, that prevents waste, that allows the kitchen, the living stomach of your home, to function as it was meant to nourish, protect, and multiply abundance. Remember, knowledge without action is merely potential. Once you hear the location, the method, the simple, practical adjustment, the decision will be yours. You can leave things as they are, or you can move the quiet guardian of your household's abundance into the correct position and begin the process of transforming your home's energy and your bank account step by step. 90% of homes have made the mistake. That means 9 out of 10 families are losing more than they should day by day, quietly, invisibly. Don't be one of them. Pay attention. Prepare to act. Because when I reveal the position that turns a refrigerator from a silent drain into a steady attractor of wealth, you will finally have the chance to change the pattern that has kept you stuck for too long. Stay with me. The secret position is simple, practical, and powerful. When you place the refrigerator in that spot, the flow begins. And when the flow begins, abundance follows.
When we talk about the refrigerator, most people think of it as nothing more than a cooling machine, a modern box that keeps food fresh. But in the deeper language of the home, in the symbolic system of Feng Shui, and in the subconscious psychology of families, the refrigerator is not just a machine. It is the storage of life itself. It is the family's treasury. In ancient times, wealth was not measured only in coins or jewels, but also in the ability to store food. A household that could keep grain dry, meat preserved, and water clean was considered prosperous and protected. If disaster struck, if markets failed, or if crops did not grow, the family that had storage survived. Those who had no storage fell into hardship. In that sense, the refrigerator is the modern version of the grain silo, the water jar, the pantry that held life. To ignore where you place this treasury is to ignore where your fortune rests. You may think money is in the bank, but the symbolic mirror of that bank sits humming in your kitchen every day. In Feng Shui, the refrigerator is directly equated with the family's store of food, which means it is equated with the family's store of wealth. Think about it. Food sustains life, and wealth sustains choice. Both are resources, both are energy, both are stored and released in rhythm. The refrigerator, then, is not neutral. It actively shapes the flow of prosperity. Where you position it determines whether this flow remains steady and abundant, or whether it leaks away, turning nourishment into waste and fortune into frustration. There are countless stories told in families, stories that pass quietly from one generation to another, about how the simple act of moving a refrigerator transformed daily life. One man, struggling for years with a stagnant business, finally listened to an elder relative who advised him, "Your refrigerator faces the front door. Every time you open it, the wealth you gather is rushing out." He thought it was nonsense, but to please the elder, he shifted it to another wall, aligning it with the inner part of the home. Within months, his contracts began to flow more smoothly. He found new clients, not through miracles, but through a fresh sense of clarity. His home felt calmer. His meals with his family became less tense. The energy of scarcity loosened its grip. By the end of the year, his business income doubled. To outsiders, it looked like coincidence, but to him, he knew. The change began with the refrigerator. Another woman recalls how, for years, her household had constant quarrels. Small arguments over bills escalated into shouting matches.
Her children grew restless, unable to sleep deeply. A neighbor versed in Feng Shui pointed out the obvious. Her refrigerator was standing directly beside the stove, a constant battle between water and fire. She thought nothing of it, but after enduring too much strain, she finally acted. She shifted the fridge to a calmer corner, separating it from the stove. Almost immediately, the atmosphere softened. It was not magic, it was relief. Her husband stopped raising his voice. The children's restlessness eased. Expenses that used to appear suddenly seemed to diminish. With peace came better decisions, and with better decisions came stability. These are not fairy tales. They are reminders that objects in our homes are not just physical. They carry symbolic weight, and our subconscious reads these symbols every day. When the subconscious is bombarded with conflict, disorder, or imbalance, we live in stress. When it is supported with harmony and alignment, we live with clarity and prosperity. The refrigerator, therefore, is not just an object in the kitchen. It is a magnet of fortune or a drain of it, depending on where it stands.
Now that you understand why the refrigerator matters, you must hear the warnings. These are the placement mistakes that quietly, invisibly, but relentlessly drain prosperity from families. If your refrigerator sits in any of these positions, you must correct it immediately, or you will continue to live with the consequences. Mistake 1. Placing the refrigerator directly opposite the main entrance. At first glance, this seems harmless. The door opens and the refrigerator is there. Easy to access, easy to notice. But in the language of energy, this is a disaster. The main door is where life force, wealth, and opportunities enter the home. When the refrigerator, your treasury, faces that door, every time the energy enters, it is immediately pushed back out. The house cannot hold wealth. Prosperity arrives but finds no anchor. Families with this mistake often notice a frustrating pattern. Money comes in, but it never stays. A raise at work is canceled out by sudden bills. A windfall is swallowed up by emergencies. They earn, but they do not keep. It is as if their household has a hole in its pocket, and no matter how hard they work, they are always one step behind. That hole begins with the refrigerator's placement. The solution is simple but non-negotiable. The refrigerator must be moved away from the direct line of the main entrance. If you cannot move it entirely, use a screen, a partition, or even a plant to break the line of sight. But the best cure is always relocation. Mistake 2. Placing the refrigerator near the sink or directly beside the stove. Here lies another common destructive error. The refrigerator embodies the element of water, cold, preserving, flowing. The stove embodies fire, heat, transformation, consumption. To put them side by side or to place them facing each other is to declare war between fire and water every single day. This clash does not remain confined to appliances. It spills into the lives of those who live in the house. Couples quarrel more often. Family members clash over small matters. The mood in the kitchen is tense, and that tension leaks into the rest of the home. Most dangerously, the clash of fire and water is said to consume resources. The household's income is spent quickly, wasted, or lost through arguments and impulsive decisions. If your refrigerator stands beside your stove or near your sink, you must separate them. Create space. Use a wooden cabinet as a buffer. Move the fridge to another wall. But never allow water and fire to stand in direct conflict, because their battle will be fought with your peace and your money. Mistake 3. Placing the refrigerator inside a bedroom. It may sound strange, but in small apartments or shared spaces, some families choose to keep their refrigerator in their bedroom. They see it as practical. But what they invite into their private space is not convenience, it is chaos. The refrigerator hums constantly, disturbing rest. Its electrical field disrupts sleep cycles. Worse, its symbolic presence, an engine of storage and consumption, in the place of rest and intimacy, confuses the flow of energy. A bedroom should nourish restoration and harmony between partners. A refrigerator, instead, fills it with restless vibration, noise, and conflict. Families who make this mistake often suffer without seeing the cause. They complain of poor sleep, chronic fatigue, constant arguments, and a strange sense of depletion. Financially, they notice money slipping away without explanation, as though their strength and their wealth drain together. This is one of the most dangerous placements.
No matter how small your living space, do not place a refrigerator in the bedroom. Find another corner. Share space in the kitchen. Even use a smaller appliance, but never let this treasury stand where you should rest. These 3 mistakes are the most common, but they are not the only ones. They are, however, the most dangerous. If your refrigerator sits opposite the entrance, beside the stove or sink, or inside a bedroom, you are living under a silent drain. The refrigerator can be your ally, a guardian of abundance, or your enemy, a thief of prosperity. The choice lies in where you place it.
Now we come to the heart of the secret. You already know the refrigerator is not simply a machine. It is a vault, a treasury, a living symbol of prosperity. And you already know the mistakes that drain this prosperity. But the real question remains, where should it stand? The answer is precise, and it has been guarded in the teachings of Feng Shui masters for centuries. The refrigerator belongs in the southeast corner of your home or of your kitchen. This direction is known as the wealth sector, the zone that governs financial growth, abundance, and flourishing opportunities. Why southeast? Because in the cycle of elements, the southeast is ruled by wood energy, and wood grows when nourished by water. The refrigerator, as a source of water energy, feeds and strengthens the wood element. This harmony creates expansion, just as a tree grows stronger when given water at the right time. Place the refrigerator here, and you are symbolically watering the tree of prosperity in your household. But placement is not only about compass directions, it is also about posture. The refrigerator, like a guardian of your wealth, must have its back firmly against a solid wall. This is not just about physical stability, it is about symbolic backing. A treasury that floats in the middle of space with no support behind it is vulnerable. It is like a person with no allies, no foundation. But when the back rests firmly against a wall, it signals that your wealth is protected, supported, and reinforced by a stable foundation. There is another subtlety. The door of the refrigerator must open inward, toward the heart of the house. This may seem trivial, but it is a powerful gesture. If the refrigerator opens outward, toward the door of the house or toward an exit, it symbolically pours wealth away. Every time you open it, you send energy outward, away from your family. But if it opens inward, the gesture is reversed. You draw energy deeper into your living space, keeping fortune circulating within your walls. Think of it like a river. If the flow runs outward, the village loses its water. But if the flow runs inward, feeding the land, crops grow, life flourishes, wealth multiplies. The refrigerator door is that river's gate. The direction it opens determines whether you are fed or drained. To truly grasp this, imagine 2 households. The first family, unaware of this knowledge, places their refrigerator randomly against a window, facing the door. Every time they open it, the energy rushes out. The fridge looks convenient, but money never stays. They live with constant leaks, sudden expenses, medical bills, broken appliances. It is as though wealth is allergic to their home, escaping at the first chance. The second family, guided by wisdom, places their refrigerator in the southeast corner, back against the wall, door opening inward. They treat it as the treasury it truly is. Slowly, they notice change. Fewer crises, smoother income, unexpected opportunities. The difference is not magic, it is alignment. Energy now flows with them, not against them. That is the golden position. That is the secret alignment. If you honor it, your refrigerator transforms from a silent thief to a tireless guardian of fortune.
Placement is powerful, but intention completes the act. To truly unlock the potential of this golden position, you must combine placement with ritual. These rituals are not superstitions. They are psychological anchors, symbolic acts that reinforce harmony in both the visible and invisible worlds. Ritual 1. keep the refrigerator full of fresh food. A refrigerator that sits half empty, or worse, filled with stale leftovers, signals scarcity. It tells the subconscious there is not enough. And the subconscious, hearing this message daily, lives in lack, attracting more lack. But a refrigerator stocked with fresh, vibrant food tells a different story. It says, we are abundant, we are provided for, we live in plenty. This message saturates the home, comforting every family member, drawing in energy that matches it. In Feng Shui, fullness equals prosperity. Just as a field rich with crops promises harvest, a refrigerator rich with food promises financial stability. This does not mean waste. It does not mean overspending. It means intentional abundance. Enough fruit, vegetables, grains, and essentials to remind everyone that the household is supported. Even simple food arranged with care sends this signal. Ritual 2. Remove spoiled or rotten food immediately. If fresh food symbolizes abundance, spoiled food symbolizes decay. To allow rotten food to linger in the refrigerator is to allow negative energy to rot within your treasury. It is like storing mold inside your vault of gold. No wealth can flourish in such conditions. Families who ignore this rule often notice strange patterns: health problems, fatigue, sluggishness in work, unexplained financial drains. It is not coincidence. It is the energy of rot spreading from the fridge into the home. The rule is simple, but non-negotiable. Check your refrigerator regularly. Clear out old items. Keep it clean. A clean treasury is a strong treasury. Ritual 3. Place a symbolic token of wealth inside. This is the most powerful enhancer, the ritual that transforms the refrigerator into not just a treasury, but an altar of prosperity. Take a gold coin or a crisp, unused banknote and place it in a small, clean envelope or a hidden compartment inside the refrigerator. Do not spend it, do not touch it. Let it live there as a symbol. Why? Because every time you open the refrigerator, your subconscious sees not only food, but wealth. It registers the presence of money in your treasury. This constant reminder shapes your inner beliefs, and your inner beliefs shape your outer reality. You begin to expect wealth, to act with confidence, to invite opportunities. There are countless variations. Some place a Chinese lucky coin, others a silver dollar, others a new bill folded neatly. What matters is not the object, but the intention. You are declaring, this treasury does not only hold food, but it holds fortune. When combined with correct placement, this ritual is said to amplify prosperity beyond measure. Families who adopt it often report a strange but undeniable effect: sudden job offers, unexpected savings, reduced expenses, or gifts from unlikely sources. Whether you call it luck, energy, or psychology, the result is the same. Wealth begins to flow. Do not underestimate your refrigerator. It is not merely a cold box of steel keeping vegetables crisp and drinks chilled. It is, symbolically and energetically, the heartbeat of your household's prosperity. Every time you open its door, every time you store food inside, you are making an unconscious declaration to the universe. This is the state of my wealth. This is the state of my abundance. And here lies the truth that few will ever tell you. The position of this single appliance can silently determine your financial destiny. Think about it. When placed in the wrong spot, the refrigerator becomes a leaky vault. Instead of protecting your treasures, it lets them slip away unnoticed. You may find yourself working hard, yet money evaporates. You may save, yet expenses multiply. You may strive, yet prosperity remains just out of reach, and you cannot explain why. But when placed correctly, when you honor the ancient wisdom of placement, the refrigerator transforms. It becomes a magnet, pulling opportunities toward you. Suddenly, the same household that once struggled
begins to flourish. Deals that seemed impossible fall into place. New clients arrive. Unexpected income streams open up. It feels as if the invisible locks on prosperity have finally been broken. Listen carefully. This is not coincidence. This is not just decor. This is energy, alignment, and symbolism working together. A man in his 40s once shared his story. For years, he ran a small shop, but profits barely covered expenses. His fridge stood right opposite the front door of his home. A Feng Shui consultant told him this was like pouring water down the drain every time he opened it. Skeptical but desperate, he moved the fridge to the southeast corner of his kitchen, backed it against a sturdy wall. Within weeks, he noticed subtle shifts, more repeat customers, fewer unexpected bills. 6 months later, his revenue had doubled. Was it magic? No, it was alignment. His household no longer leaked fortune, it kept and grew it. Another story, a young couple constantly argued about money. Their fridge stood beside the stove, water clashing with fire, a recipe for conflict. After shifting the fridge away from the stove and cleansing it of old food, not only did their fights lessen, but new career opportunities opened up for both of them. They described it as if a weight had lifted from their own. These stories are not rare. They are repeated in countless variations, and they all point back to one truth. The refrigerator is the silent governor of your financial flow. So hear this. Every day that your fridge sits in the wrong place is a day your wealth is bleeding out. Every day that spoiled food sits inside is a day rot spreads into your finances. Every day you ignore this wisdom, you unknowingly shut the door to prosperity. But the opposite is also true. The very moment you honor this wisdom, move your fridge to the golden position, treat it as the treasury it truly is, you trigger a transformation. You invite wealth to stay, multiply, and grow. This is not about belief alone. It is about action. Placement is action. Cleanliness is action. Ritual is action. And action creates results. So I say it clearly, without hesitation. Do not underestimate your refrigerator. It holds not only your food, it holds your financial destiny. Place it wrong, and you will watch your wealth drain away. Place it right, and you will marvel as opportunities flood in, as money comes easier, as prosperity flows without end. Right now, in this very moment, ask yourself one simple question. Where is your refrigerator? Is it standing as a guardian of your fortune or as a thief of your wealth? Is it feeding your family with energy and abundance or silently pushing prosperity out the door? Look at it with new eyes. See it not as an object, but as a symbol. Every decision you've made about where it stands has consequences. Every spoiled item you've allowed to sit inside has left an imprint. And every day you live with it in disharmony is another day you live below your potential for abundance. But the beauty is this, it can change, and it can change today. You don't need a massive renovation. You don't need to spend thousands. All you need is awareness and action. Place the refrigerator in the southeast corner. Let its back rest against a wall. Make sure its door opens inward, keeping wealth within. Fill it with fresh, vibrant food. Keep it clean. Place a symbolic coin or bill inside as a token of fortune. And then watch. Watch how the energy of your household shifts. Watch how your spirit feels lighter. Watch how opportunities arrive seemingly from nowhere. You may doubt now. You may think it's just a fridge. But remember this. Sometimes the smallest shifts carry the largest results. A single seed becomes a forest. A single decision changes a life. And a single refrigerator placed in harmony can unlock the door to unstoppable prosperity. So I say it clearly, without hesitation. Do not underestimate your refrigerator. It holds not only your food, it holds your financial destiny. Place it wrong, and you will watch your wealth drain away. Place it right, and you will marvel as opportunities flood in, as money comes easier, as prosperity flows without end. Now, I have a secret tip for all of you. My father shared this with me many years ago, and I practice it every day without fail. On every shelf of your refrigerator, place one single coin. It can be any coin, but the more valuable, the better. This works like a little magnet, attracting more prosperity into your household. Try this little change and see the big difference. It worked like magic for me, and I know it will work for you. Until next time, remember, your fridge is not just for food. It is a gateway to your prosperity. Honor it, align it, and watch your wealth grow.